ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 24, chanting of the song sung by Lord Shiva. We are at text 43. Just a minute. Text 43. If you are hearing some background kirtan, that is the Sankirtan party which is going on. शक्तित्रय समेताय मीढुषे अहङ्कात्मने अहंकृत आत्मने चेताकुतिरूपाय नमो वाचो विभूतये. Translation.
My dear Lord, you are the supreme controller of the worker, sense activities, and results of sense activities, that is karma. Therefore, you are the controller of the body, mind, and senses. You are also the supreme controller of egotism, known as Rudra. You are the source of knowledge and the activities of the Vedic injunctions. Purport. Everyone acts under the dictation of the ego. Therefore, Lord Shiva is trying to purify false egotism through the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since Lord Shiva or Rudra is himself the controller of egotism, he indirectly wants to be purified by the mercy of the Lord so that his real egotism can be awakened. Of course, Lord Shiva is always spiritually awake, but for our benefit, he is praying in this way. For the impersonalist, pure egotism is Aham Brahma Asmi. I am not this body, I am spirit soul. But in its actual position, the spirit soul has devotional activities to perform. Therefore, Lord Shiva prays to be engaged both in mind and in action in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord according to the directions of the Vedas. This is the process for purifying for false egotism. Cheta means knowledge. Without perfect knowledge, one cannot act perfectly. The real source of knowledge is the Vachaha or sound vibration given by Vedic instructions. Here, the word Vachaha or vibration means the Vedic vibration. The origin of creation is sound vibration. And if sound vibration is clear and purified, perfect knowledge and perfect activities actually become manifest. This is enacted by the chanting of the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thus, Lord Shiva is praying again and again for the purification of body, mind, and activities through the purification of knowledge and action under the pure directions of the Vedas. Lord Shiva prays to the Supreme Personality of Godhead so that his mind, senses, and words will all turn towards devotional activities only. Hare Krishna.
Lord Shiva is praying here, 43rd verse. Okay. So this is a part of Rudra Gita. We know that this chapter, text 33 to 68, is Rudra Gita. And this 33 to 68 Rudra Gita is subsectionized. And we are completing the first section of that Rudra Gita. That is text 33 to 43. These 11 verses, they are describing obeisances to the Lord in the form of Chaturvyuha and the presiding deity of the elements of self-purification. So there is element of self-purification is being described here. So here Lord Shiva says, my dear Lord, you are the supreme controller of the worker, sense activities and result of the sense activities, that is karma. You are the controller of the body, mind and senses, which impel one to the work, and also controller of egotism, which dictates the work, and thus you are real Rudra. So Lord Shiva is Rudra. But he says that, my dear Lord, it is you who is Rudra. You are the source of knowledge and the activities of the Vedic injunctions. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, everyone acts under the dictation of ego. Right? So our actions are, who am I, is deeply designed within. And because, you know, who am I is deeply designed within, is understood and convinced within, accordingly we act. Before becoming devotee, we know that we had a one conception of life, our dreams were something else, our lifestyle was something else. After becoming devotee, our ego is changed, our ego has come to the real ego. Jivere Swarpahe Krishnera Nityadas. And therefore, our activities are also changing. And thus, accordingly, body, mind, and senses, words, and thoughts, they are also changing. Because everything emanates from the sense, Prabhupada says, the dictation of the ego. So, look at the first line. Everyone acts under the dictation of ego. Right. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada will be constantly hammering this point. The basic points will be kept constantly hammered that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, eternal, servant of the servant of Krishna. So that this, uh, sense of real ego will be awakened within. Correct? And this is the process of bhakti, sarvopadhi. Further, Srila Prabhupada says that even Lord Shiva wants to be purified of his ego and want to establish in real ego. Ego cannot be given up, right? So ego means, who am I? It is the monistic idea to destroy the ego. No, we don't want to destroy the ego, we want to purify the ego. And ahankara, ego, the element of ahankara, ahamkrita, right? So of course Lord Shiva is already in a self-realized position and always spiritually awake, but here he is taking the role of a sadhaka and teaching how to pray to the Supreme Lord, just like Arjuna takes the role of a sadhaka, and thus Bhagavad Gita is revealed. Lord Shiva prays to be engaged in both mind and in action in devotional service. And this is what the process of purifying the false ego is. Kama Krishna Karmarpane, Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane, and Niyukta Karibe Yatha Tatha. Narottam Das Thakur very beautifully writes that how we have to engage everything. Or Ambarish Maharaj says, Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane, Karau Harer Mandira Marjanatishu. Shrutim Chakar Achyuta Satkathodaya. So this is how one has to engage one's mind and senses in the service of the Lord, so that mind and senses are purified. The real source of knowledge, Prabhupada says, the perfect knowledge is possible by Chetaha, means knowledge. And the real source of knowledge is Vachaha, or the sound vibration. So the sound vibration, we receive the real knowledge, and origin of all this sound has to be, the origin of the creation is the sound vibration. And if the sound vibration is clear and purified, perfect knowledge and perfect activities actually become manifest. Okay. So very amazing. When the sound is clear, right? So what is the meaning of sound is clear? Clarity of sound. And Prabhupada says, therefore, we have to clearly chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So clear posture, clear pronunciation, and clear clarity in hearing, right? So then what will happen is when the sound vibration is clear and purified, perfect knowledge and perfect activities will become manifest. And therefore, here Lord Shiva is again and again praying for the purification of body, mind, and activities through the purification of knowledge and action under the pure direction of the Vedas. Right? So, this is what is the beautiful prayer Lord Shiva is teaching to Prachetas. Text 44. Now, this is the another section from 44 to 52, which is part of Rudra Gita, where seeing and serving the Lord's glorious form is being mentioned. So we come to text 44. This is the second part of Rudra Gita. Darshanam no didrukshunam dehi bhagavatarchitam rupam priyatamam svanam sarvendriya gunanjanam. Translation.
My dear Lord, I wish to see you exactly in the form that your very dear devotees worship. You have many other forms, but I wish to see your form that is especially liked by the devotees. Please be merciful upon me and show me that form. For only that form worshipped by the devotees can perfectly satisfy all the demands of the senses. Purport. In the Shruti or Veda Mantra, it is said that the Supreme Absolute Truth is Sarva Kamaha, Sarva Gandha, Sarva Rasaha, or in other words, he is known as Rasovai Saha, the source of all relishable relationships, rasas. We have various senses, the powers of seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, etc. And all the propensities of our senses can be satisfied when the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Bhakti means engaging all the senses in the service of the master of the senses, Rishikesha, Narada Pancharatra. These material senses, however, cannot be engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, one has to become free from all designations. Saropadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam. One has to become free from all designations or false egotism and thus become purified. When we engage our senses in the service of the Lord, the desires or the inclinations of the senses can be perfectly fulfilled. Lord Shiva therefore wants to see the Lord in a form which is inconceivable to the Buddha philosophers or the Buddhists. The impersonalists and the Voidists also have to see the form of the Absolute. In Buddhist temples, there are forms of Lord Buddha in meditation, but these are not worshipped like the forms of the Lord in Vaishnava temples. Forms like Radha Krishna, Sitaram, or Lakshmi Narayan. Amongst the different sampradayas, Vaishnava sects, either Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan is worshipped. Lord Shiva wants to see that form perfectly, just as the devotees wants to see it. The words Rupam Priyatamam Swanam are specifically mentioned here, indicating that Lord Shiva wants to see that form which is very dear to the devotees. The word Swanam is especially significant because only the devotees are very, very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Gyanis, Yogis, and Karmis are not particularly dear. For the Karmis simply want to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their order supplier. The Jnanis want to see him to become one with him, and the Yogis want to see him partially represented within their heart as Paramatma. But the Bhaktas or the devotees want to see him in his complete perfection, as stated in Brahma Samhita 5.30. Venun Kwanantararinda Dalayaksham Barhavatan Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept at playing on his flute, whose eyes are blooming like lotus petals, whose head is bedecked with peacock feathers, whose beauty is tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and whose unique loveliness charms millions of cupids. Thus, Lord Shiva's desire is to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is described in this way. That is, he wants to see him as he appears to the Bhagavatas the devotees. The conclusion is that Lord Shiva wants to see him in complete perfection and not in the impersonalist or voidist way. Although the Lord is one in his various forms, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadi, Anantam, still his form as the young enjoyer of the gopis and companion of the cowherd boys, Kishore Murti, is the most perfect form. Thus, Vaishnavas accept the form of the Lord in his Vrindavan pastimes as the chief form.
Now Lord Shiva prays, Darshanam no didrukshunam, Dehi Bhagavatarchitam, Rupam Priyatamam Swanam, Sarvendriya Gunanchanam. Very beautiful prayer by Lord Shiva. So he says, my dear Lord, please reveal me that form, which is, I want to see you the form, exactly in the form which is very dear to your wonderful devotees. You have many forms, especially, but I want to see that form which is especially liked by the devotees and which perfectly satisfy all the senses of the devotees. Okay, very beautiful demand. George Harrison wrote a very amazing song, Beatles. I really want to be with you, I really want to see you, Lord. So, prayer to see the form of the Lord is always the prayer of a devotee, right? Jagannath Swami, Nayana Pathagami, Bhavatu me. My dear Lord, please reveal your form to me. And this is the very, very same prayer by Lord Shiva. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the Veda mantras describes the Lord as Sarvakamaha, Sarvagandaha, Sarvarasa. He is called as Rasovaisaha, the abode of all the rasa, and he is also called as Rasa Vigraha. Right? The source of all the relishable relationships is present in that personality. See, when we say God, you know, he will eternally punish you to the hell, we are just talking about Nyaya aspect of God. Sometimes the yogis they talk about the Satya aspect of the God, but the Prema aspect of God, right? God is not only great, but he's even sweeter. So this, all the rasas are being relished within this form of the personality, and this form is Lord Shiva desires to see. Srila Prabhupada explains that the bhakti means Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam, and this currently the senses are material, and therefore one has to become free from the designation Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam. When we engage our senses in the service of the Lord, then when the senses becomes fully purified. So the form of the Lord is always aspired to be seen. What to speak of the devotees, even the impersonalist and the voidist, they see form of the absolute, right? So sometimes you may go to the Buddhist temple, or sometimes you may go to the temple where the ultimate conclusion of the philosophy is voidism or atheism, but they may also have some temple where some forms are there, but you will find those forms are not so relishable because these forms are not worshipped. Forms are simply just like the forms in the Vaishnava temple. So when you go to a temple, by the quality of the devotion of the devotees there, the deity reveals the form. So Vaishnava temple deities will outshine the otherwise the deities which are being so-called established by the impersonalists. And one can very clearly see the difference. What to speak of that? You can see the difference between uh, ISKCON posters and other posters also. Very clearly you can see the difference. The rasa, the emotion, the kind of liveliness within the posters, one can very easily see. So the Lord has many, many forms, but ultimately, the Lord Shiva wants to see the form which is very close to his devotees. This is the same prayer Arjuna does in Bhagavad Gita. Adrashta purvam rahitosmi drishtva bhayena cha pravetitham mano me tadev me darshanam deva rupam prasida devesha jagannivasa. He says that, my dear Lord, you have shown me this terrible universal form. Of course, I am gladdened to see this form, but please bestow your grace upon me and again reveal your form as a personality of Godhead. O Devesha, O Jagannatha, abode of, the maintainer of the universe. Which form you want to see? Then Arjuna says, Kiritinam Gadinam Chakrahastam Ichhami Tvam Drushtumahim Tathaiva Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena Sahusrabaho Bhava Vishwamurti. O Vishwamurti, Virat Roop, O Sahasrabhaho, I want to see your four-handed form, Chaturbhuja Roop. And then he says, the Chaturbhuja Rupa, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Maya Prasannena Tavarjunedam Rupam Param Darshiyat Atma Yogat Tejo Mayam Vishwamanantamadyam Yanme Twadannena Nad Drushva Purvam. He says that the form you have seen has never been seen before. Neither pious activities, yoga, and other things you qualify to see this form. Only by my mercy one can see this form. And then Lord reveals the four-handed form, and then finally he comes to the Saumya Rupam and the most liked form, that is, the form which is being described here in Brahma Samhita. Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Barhavatan Samachitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakotikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Lord Shiva desires to see this form of the Lord, right? He wants to see as it being appears to the Bhagavatas or devotees, and therefore it says Bhagavata Architam, worshipped by your Bhagavat devotees. Srila Prabhupada says the conclusion is that Lord Shiva wants to see him in the complete perfection as the young enjoyer of the gopis and the companion of the cowherd boys, the Kishora Murti form of the Lord, which is the most perfect eternal form, the eternal age of the Lord and eternal form of the Lord is the Kishora Murti form, and Lord Shiva is teaching Prachetas to pray to see this form of the Lord. Text 45. स्निग्धं प्रावुटघनश्यामं सर्वसौन्दर्यसङ्ग्रहं चारुवायात चतुर्बाहु सुजात सुचिराननं पद्मकोशपलाशाक्षं सुन्दरभ्रूसुनासिकं सुद्विजं सुकपोलास्यं समकर्णविभूषितम्. Translation.
The Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud during the rainy season. As the rainfall glistens, his bodily features also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty. The Lord has 4 arms and an exquisitely beautiful face with eyes like lotus petals, a beautiful highly raised nose, a mind-attracting smile, a beautiful forehead, and equally beautiful and fully decorated ears. Purport. After the scorching heat of the summer season, it is very pleasing to see dark clouds in the sky, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Barhavatam Asitambuda Sundarangam. The Lord wears a peacock feather in his hair, and his bodily complexion is just like a blackish cloud. The word Sundara or Snigdha means very pleasing. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya, Krishna's beauty is so pleasing that not even millions upon millions of cupids can compare to it. The Lord's form as Vishnu is decorated in all opulence. Therefore, Lord Shiva is trying to see that most opulent form of Narayana or Vishnu. Generally, the worship of the Lord begins with the worship of Narayana or Vishnu, whereas the worship of Lord Krishna and Radha is most confidential. Lord Narayana is worshipable by the Pancharatrika Vidhi or regulative principles, whereas Lord Krishna is worshipable by the Bhagavata Vidhi. No one can worship the Lord in the Bhagavad Vidhi without going through the regulations of Pancharatrika Vidhi. Actually, neophyte devotees worship the Lord according to the Pancharatrika Vidhi or the regulative principles enjoyed in the Narada Pancharatra. Radha Krishna cannot be approached by the neophyte devotees, therefore temple worship according to regulative principles is offered to Lakshmi Narayan. Although there may be a Radha Krishna Vigraha or form, the worship of the neophyte devotees is acceptable as Lakshmi Narayan worship. Worship according to the Pancharatrika Vidhi is called Vidhi Marga, and worship according to the Bhagavata Vidhi principles is called Raga Marga. The principles of Raga Marga are especially meant for devotees who are elevated to the Vrindavan platform. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd boys, the cows, and everyone else are actually on the Raga Marga or Bhagavata Marga platform. They participate in 5 basic rasas: Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and Shanta. But although these 5 rasas are found in the Bhagavata Marga, the Bhagavata Marga is especially meant for Vatsalya and Madhurya, or parental and conjugal relationships. Yet there is a Vipralamba Sakhya, the higher fraternal worship of the Lord, especially enjoyed by the cowherd boys. Although there is friendship between Krishna and cowherd boys, this friendship is different from the Aishwarya friendship between Krishna and Arjuna. When Arjuna saw the Vishwarupa, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, he was afraid for having treated Krishna as an ordinary friend. Therefore, he begged Krishna's pardon. However, the cowherd boys who are friends of Krishna in Vrindavan sometimes ride on the shoulders of Krishna. They treat Krishna equally, just as they treat one another, and they are never afraid of him, nor do they ever beg his pardon. Thus, in the Raga Marga or Bhagavata Marga, friendship exists on the higher platform with Krishna, namely the platform of Vishramba friendship. Parental friendship, parental service, and conjugal service are visible in the Vrindavan Raga Marga relationships.
Yeah, it's a long purport. We'll read in sections. So now Lord Shiva explains the beautiful form of the Lord. And look at the verse also, how beautiful the verse is. Snigdha Pravrita Ghanashyama Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. This is the name of the Lord. Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. Entire beauty, Sangraha, is done in this form of the Lord. What is that? Charu Ayata Chaturbahu Sujata Ruchirananam. Charu means extremely beautiful. Charu. Ayata, the bodily features. Chaturbahu, 4 hands. Sujata, Chaturananam. Chaturananam means the very, very, very attractive face. Padma Kosha Palashaksham, Sundara Bru Sunasikam. Sujata. Padma Kosh is like, the Kamal Kapush. Palashaksham, his eyes are like the lotus petal. Sundara Bru, his brew is extremely beautiful. Sunasikam means the raised nose. Sudvijam. So Dvijam here means the teeth. Sudvijam, because the teeth, they, do bar aate, right? So teeth are also called as Dvija because they have 2 births. Sudvijam, Sukapolasyam, Samakarna Vibhushitam. So this is the form of Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud, Ghanashyam, during the rainy season. As the rainfall glistens, his bodily features also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty, Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. He has 4 arms and exquisitely beautiful face. Now, this is still we are describing the Vishnumurti. The eyes like the lotus petal, the beautiful highly raised nose, mind-attracting smile, and the beautiful forehead, and equally beautiful and fully decorated ears. Right? So, this is the form of the Supreme Lord. Tukaram Maharaji praised like this, Sundarate Dhyana Ubhe Vitevari. And then this is the form of Lord Vithala is also being mentioned. Very, very similar form. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Barahavatan Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. That the Krishna's beauty is so pleasing that one cannot even add millions, crores of Cupid and still the beauty cannot be compared. It is on the spiritual platform. Right. So, the Lord's form as a Vishnu is decorated in all opulences. And therefore, worship of Narayana is on a different platform and worship of Radha Krishna is on the different platform. So for the neophyte devotees, it is the Aishwarya worship is being recommended, which is generally offered to Lakshmi Narayana Murti. Or even within the ISKCON temple also, the worship of Radha Krishna is done in a Aishwarya Bhav, in the sense that the form of the Lord is gorgeously decorated and very systematically worshipped. Right. This is the difference This is the difference between Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Vidhi. So Lord Narayana is worshipped by Pancharatrika Vidhi, whereas Lord Krishna is worshipped by Bhagavata Vidhi. But one should never come to Bhagavata Vidhi without meticulously going through the regulations of Pancharatrika Vidhi. Right? Our Bhakti Vikas Maharaj says, but it's very similar. There should be sense of some Vairagya before Yukta Vairagya. Okay, so this is the similar lines. Radha Krishna cannot be approached by neophyte devotees. And therefore, even when devotees want to have deities in their house, the recommended deities in the house are like Gaur Nitai deities, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra deities, but very rarely, we ask devotees to to establish the Radha Krishna deities, because the standard of the Radha Krishna deities worship are very, very high. Correct? So, worship by the So worship of neophyte devotees, even to the Radha Krishna deities, is done in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan worship, in the sense that there is a mood of Pancharatrika Marg and Vidhi Marg. Otherwise, the Lord is always loved and prayed with Raganuga Marg. And this is exemplified by Brajavasis, the inhabitants of Vrindavan. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, like gopis, Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, cowherd boys, cows, and everyone else, they are actually on the Raga Marga or the Bhagavata Marga platform. And because Lord is Rasa Vigraha, they relate with the Lord with different rasas, and predominantly 5 rasas. That is Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakhyaras, Madhuryaras, and Vatsalyaras. But specifically, Lord Krishna is worshipped in Vrindavan with, Prabhupada says, Madhuryaras, Vatsalyaras, and Vipralamba Sakhyaras. So even the trees in Vrindavan, they also exhibit rasa. Right? So it is not that the trees in Vrindavan are just in Shantaras. No. They are also having great Vatsalya to the Supreme Lord. Correct? So this is, Prabhupada says, the friendships. And there is now here is the Rasa Tattva being explained here. One can see it is not that as we see the different forms of the Lord, with different relationships also are being established. Like there is no friend of Narasimhadev. You don't see anybody friend of Narasimhadev. Lord Ram had friends like Bibhishan, Sugriva. They are friends of Lord Ram. But that friendship of Lord Ram and Bibhishan or Sugriv, that friendship is on the platform of Dasyaras. So they are Dasya Sakha. Or they are friends, but they are in Dasyaras. We can say Hanumanji, pure Dasyaras. There is no friendship. Bibhishan, Sugriva, there is Dasyaras, there is Sakyaras, but which is in the element of Dasyaras. Even Arjuna, it is more intimate Sakyaras, but still the element of Dasya is still there, although it is very, very vanished element. But when Lord shows the Vishwaroop, then Arjuna said, "Oh my Lord, we ate in the same plate, I played with you, we were sleeping on the same bed and everything. Now I realize you are the Supreme Lord." So there the friendship is covered over by Aishwarya. Come to Vrindavan, and the cowherd boys, they are jumping on Krishna, wrestling with Krishna, defeating Krishna. And just imagine if Krishna shows some Virat Roop or Vishwaroop, they say, "Oh Krishna, remove your magic. Nice, good magic show, Chalo, come on, we'll play now." So this is the pure Madhurya Sakhyaras. There is no element of Aishwarya Bhav in this relationship. So Prabhupada writes here, Bhagavata Marga. Thus, the Raga Marga or Bhagavata Marga, friendship exists on the higher platform with Krishna, namely the platform of Vipralamba friendship, parental friendship, paternal friendship, paternal service, conjugal service, all visible in the Vrindavan Raga Marga relationship. Right. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण।
प्रभुपाद थैंक यू प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्ण। दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण। प्रणाम प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्ण।
और दूं?